Welcome back. We're discussing the effects of social and economic injustice in India and beyond with Arundhati Roy, one of India's most prolific and renowned authors. Welcome back. I want to move now to the issue of Kashmir. It's a perennial issue in India. It's been there for decades. Is it time, as you say, for India to give up Kashmir?
Well, I think there's no point in my saying that it's time, because I have, I have written saying India needs azadi, which means freedom in Urdu. India needs azadi from Kashmir more than Kashmir needs azadi from India, because the kind of moral corrosion of what India is doing in Kashmir is sort of seeping into the rest of India now. We have the Indian government has 700,000 troops in that tiny valley. I mean, remember that America has something like 165,000 troops fighting a full-fledged war in Iraq. So this is the situation in Kashmir right now, extremely dangerous, because what the Indian government does is it keeps sort of snuffing out or negotiating its way out of situations, and then the valley rises again, and once again the people are pushed down, and once again, the PR machine goes up saying, oh, everybody's happy now, and then once again the people rise, and it's been such a long process. But now the problem is, with what is happening in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kashmir has become even more important to resolve. I'm afraid, I'm very, very worried about what's going on in this region, and I don't know if, I might be wrong about what I'm saying, because I'm just reading the tea leaves and looking at a few leaves blowing in the wind right now, but somehow I'm worried about the fact that the US might try and persuade the Indian government, that's always so eager to please it, to send in its troops into Afghanistan to relieve the pressure on the US. And somehow this whole rhetoric that's beginning between India and China might end up, making Indian air bases open to the US. And this whole region, of course, Gaza we know about, but Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka, all these countries are turning on their own people, devouring their own people. There's a mess in this region, and I really don't know how it's going to resolve itself, but the signs are not good.
But do you believe that in many respects, when it comes to democracy in those parts of the world that you're talking about there, the West has a double standard? For instance, if you take what happened in the occupied territories, there was an election there, Hamas came to power, it was not acceptable to the West. We have a case today where Hamid Karzai has been declared the president, the winner of the election and the president of Afghanistan, yet it has been proven that millions of votes that were cast for him were fraudulent, yet that appears to be acceptable to the West.
Obviously, that the West has double standards is, it's not a revelation. We know it. Almost all the military occupations today, not Burma and not Tibet, but otherwise, are run by democracies, Kashmir or Palestine or Iraq or Afghanistan. So, democracy doesn't really mean anything anymore now, because just like the world economy, just like the global economy that connects up things all over the world, so does democracy. You can't define it just by the borders of a country. You can't say America is a democracy because it's democratic inside America. You can't say India is a democracy. India is not even democratic inside India, nor is America. We know how these institutions have been hollowed out now. We know how it all works. Last week there was this. All of us have known it for a long time, but somebody actually wrote about how the Indian corporate media actually sells coverage packages, medium, high-end, low-end, and live coverage packets to politicians and political parties. They can actually buy space, news space, editorial space. So this is how it works. We have, in the last elections, we had India spent more money on its last elections than America did. And we have, I mean, the majority of the members of parliament are all millionaires. Where does that money come from? It comes from these mining areas, you know, where the poor people live, from the MOUs.
You mentioned the United States just a short while ago. I'd be interested to know, what is your opinion of President Barack Obama?
Well, my opinion is that, you know, I don't think that, I would not like to take away from the fact that it does mean a lot to those, you know, to the black people of America, given what their history was, to see a black president in the White House. But beyond that, I mean, you know, the war has deepened in Afghanistan, deepened in Pakistan. Iraq is still burning. Nothing has happened over the settlements in the occupied territories. We know that the American economy is bleeding. So what I say is, what I often say is that we hope that, like that pilot who landed the plane in the Hudson, Obama will land the American empire in the Hudson safely, and everyone will be happy, but the empire should land. And I don't think that, you see, the office of the American president is not an office from where I expect radical change to come. That change doesn't come from up there. It comes from people. I think that we have to understand that whatever President Obama is saying now, whatever overtures he's making, even if they don't translate into deeds, even those he's been forced to make by the unrest in the world, by the fact that Afghanistan and Iraq have not just keeled over and allowed an occupation, you know. However demonic we might think, you know, the sort of Wahhabi Islam is, and I mean, I don't have anything nice to say about it, but unfortunately millions look upon it, and it's getting legitimacy because those people are seen to be fighting liberation struggles. So it's strengthening that, and that is what I think is so frightening.
You wrote in the British newspaper, The Guardian, last December that last year's Mumbai attacks cannot be seen in isolation but must be understood in the context of wider issues in the region's history and society, such as widespread poverty. On the face of it, these attacks were carried out by organized criminals who are masquerading as religious or political activists. What does that have to do with being poor?
I don't think I said it had to do with being poor. I spoke about injustice. I said that, in fact, oddly enough, what I said was that the battle of the poor was not on TV. So let's talk about the one that is on TV. And that injustice that I was linking it to is the battle that you know, the sort of Hindu nationalism in India has been waging against its 130 million Muslim population. You know, with incidents like, with pogroms like what happened in Gujarat, and the numbers of people that are being picked up, this whole bogey of Islamic terrorism and so on, and most of all, Kashmir, you know. And I don't think that anybody can just look at that attack and think it's just a bunch of maniacs that attacked Mumbai. Of course, the people that attacked Mumbai are terrorists and are being tried and ought to be seen as that. But why is it happening? Meaning, why is this happening? After all, it's not happening in Sweden or in Norway. Why did it happen in Mumbai? And if we don't put these things in context, if we don't try and address these issues, then we are guilty of perpetuating them. You know, there are people who think that trying to understand something is the same as excusing it. You know, and that is just the most absurd kind of politics that anybody could come up with. You know, to see a region boiling with a kind of unrest and a kind of injustice that's going on, and when something happens, to say, oh, it had nothing to do with anything, it was just a few twisted minds, is a dangerous way of looking at things.
Arundhati, we could go on talking about this, but I'm afraid time has caught up with us. Thanks for being with us. On the next show, we speak with a key American official who quit his post in Afghanistan out of frustration with U.S. policy there. Matthew Ho's resignation has sparked a raging debate about whether America should just get out of Afghanistan as soon as possible. Make sure to tune in for that. We'll see you the next time.